Hi, it's Jane, and I don't know that I've got a whole lot accomplished. I did get two more hats done. Those aren't them. These are them. Got two more hats done, and just trying to work through that stuff. The only other thing, as far as some of the work that I've got done, look, I'm not getting anywhere. This is a knitting on the sleeves. Still have a ways to go. You guys chatted with me while I worked on this. Accomplished all of that. That's about it. Did wind up some cakes. A lot of what I've been doing is working on some sewing things, cutting some more totes to be sewn. I have someone who asked me to make a baby quilt, so I'm still working on it. I actually have everything together. Just need to do the quilting part. And eyeglass cases. I've got a couple that need to be finished putting together. Did the quilting on them, those kind of things. And it's kind of it. I know Sunday, after I got home from church, I was just not really feeling it, really tired. So I went to bed, a little around 1 o'clock and didn't get up till about 5:30. Kind of piddled around in the house, doing some cleaning, that kind of stuff. And I'm pretty tired of living in Pennsylvania. Although it's not raining today. It wasn't raining yesterday, so that's been good. But it's still on the cooler side. So I'm not turning my heat on, per se. I do turn the fireplace on at temperature to get the room warmed up because the room is cool. So it's kind of what's going on in my life this week. Other than got another ear issue going on. I'm not sure if it's an actual ear infection or if it's just due to sinuses. Although I've had a lot of sinus issues, and of course, when I have sinus issues, lots of times it is reflected in my ear. So it's kind of what's going on here. I did put the tote over by the door. Ronan has been enjoying it. Sitting on it quite frequently, just looking out the window. And it does give him a little more advantage point where he can put his paws on that window and see a little bit better, see out. So he's a little bit of a happy camper. I pulled out my one tote that I use for recycling, and what I do with it is all the papers that can be taken to the recycle bin, I put them in there, and he loves to lay on it. Who can figure these cats out? Sometimes they just do some goofy stuff. So that's kind of all that I've been working on. Other than I did look for a couple of patterns for that hometown yarn, so I can figure out what to do with those 6 skeins. I have not found anything that suggests amigurumi, and I don't think that's going to work. It's most likely going to be a cow scarf. Thought about maybe a wrap, but I'm not sure there's enough of it to even do a wrap. So, I don't know, kind of limited by how much I have, and I don't think you can get that color again anymore, so there's that, right? I've been drinking more water, and of course I like using the different flavors. Today's flavor happens to be mermaid. I did get that pack from Dollar General, and mermaid supposedly is magical. Supposedly has a touch of citrus, pineapple, a hint of coconut, and magic, I think is the way they worded it. Let me look and see. It's not a bad blend. It's okay. I think I would use it with something else, probably blueberry or something. Blueberry. Yeah, raspberry, blue raspberry. Um, a splash of citrus, hint of coconut, touch of pineapple, and a whole lot of magic. So, it's not a bad flavor. So, if you don't like the taste of just plain water, and I'm one of those, I don't care if it's plain water or not, but then every once in a while I do like the flavored waters. And like I said, I do make them in a larger container. I do have sorry, just trying to figure out what I was hearing. I do have a water bottle that I picked up from the Dollar Tree, and I do like to make 32 ounces of whatever water I'm going to have. And generally what I do is I fill my cup with ice, add just a little bit of water, because these are made to go into 16.9 ounce bottles. And I know many times I have used just one of those packets for a 20 ounce bottle of water, and I think it's fine taste. So I do add a little bit of water to my cup each time before I pour in the 32 ounce, part of that 32 ounce. And I like to keep it in the refrigerator so it's ready to go. So, yeah, I think that's about all. Make sure you're drinking your water, especially now that we're getting into some summer months. I did, while I was at Dollar General, I did pick up a couple things for the Operation Christmas Child. And these were already marked down, but you got to take another 75% off the price. And one of those is the Black Panther. And this was like $6, so 75% off of it. And then a glitter dino Unikitty assortment is what it's called. And I've never seen the Unikitties in there. I have seen the dinosaurs, a pink and then this blue one. And this was $4, 75% off. So, wasn't a bad sale to pick up. And I always look for those kind of things. Look for the different dot sales and, hopefully get a few dollars off to put in the boxes. I did have a friend, I know you guys have probably seen this on Facebook, and it's to take borax and to make the bouncy balls out of it. So her and a friend had tried to do that with that. She showed me the end result of her ball, and she said it might work out if there was a mold for them. To put the ball in to keep it round, because even if you had it round and you formed it, because they rolled them, formed them, but then you had to sit it on something flat and it kind of flattened it, and they did bounce while they were, working. And then she said the next day they came in to do some stuff and they were totally flat and they don't bounce. So she did think she said it was a fun thing to do. It might be fun for Bible studies or, vacation Bible studies, things to do at camp for kids, that kind of stuff. But in reality, it's not going to work for very long, and you're going to need some molds to keep it round if you were making it round, that kind of thing. I said, yeah, it's kind of like I had a friend that made some of those. They're calling them scent stones that you can use, and those don't really work out either. But, it's a nice thought to use, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, all right. So, let me find my tablet, and we'll get into the what in Tarnation. Some of these have been rather interesting stories. My favorite is the last one because this typifies most women in most situations. But first off, we have a few that precede that story. Cow caught in flood found alive in Australian beach 11 miles away. Cow was found alive on an Australian beach after being carried up to 11 miles by floodwaters. Layla Phillipson found the cow alive on the sand on Old Bar Beach on the mid-north coast of New South Wales. The cow was one of multiple bovines swept away by floodwaters brought on by torrential rains in New South Wales. The bovine is believed to be originated from Taree, about 11 miles from the beach where it was located. Phillipson posted photos of the cow to Taree Community Notice Board on Facebook, where they came to the attention of the animal's owner. The owner said the cow had been removed from the beach and is being treated by a veterinarian. Hope it's not too bad. Now this next one, I would imagine if you woke up and found this in your yard, you might be a little surprised, maybe shocked. Of course, he does live near the beach, so there's that. Norwegian man wakes up to find cargo ship in his yard. A Norwegian man was roused by a neighbor in the early morning and alerted to an unusual situation. A cargo ship was in his front yard. Johan Hellberg said he was asleep inside his home in Ben Set on the Trodheim Fjord when neighbor Jostein Jorgensen rang his doorbell and called his phone to alert him to the fact that a cargo ship had run aground in his backyard. If the ship had hit the rocky outcrop right next to it, it would have lifted it up and hit the house hard. It only missed by a few meters. Jorgensen said he awoke a few minutes earlier to the sound of the boat approaching. He ran outside and attempted to sound the alarm. Jorgensen said he was surprised to learn Hellberg had slept through the whole incident. I was sure that he was already outside, but no, there was no sign of life. I rang the doorbell many times and nothing, he said, and it was only when I called him on the phone that I managed to contact him. Bente Hetland, managing director of the shipping company NCL, said officials are investigating what caused the ship to run aground. At present time, we do not know what caused the incident and are awaiting the conclusion of the ongoing investigation by relevant authorities. We are currently assessing the damage to the ship. Hetland said there were no injuries resulting from the incident. Local police said an initial investigation indicates the officer who was responsible for steering the ship may have fallen asleep at his post. Captain Kangaroo, Colorado kangaroo escapes for a second time. That'd be a great story if they named him Captain Kangaroo, wouldn't it? A kangaroo that made headlines last year when he escaped and went for a hop around a Colorado town made a repeat appearance and was wrangled by police. And there's video. Durango police said on social media that Irwin, the kangaroo, escaped from his owner's home on Monday, just a few months after going viral for a previous escape in October. Naturally, our officers responded to the call again, safely wrangled him again, and made sure he was in good hands, because public safety, even with paws and a pouch, is still public safety. The Post said Irwin has earned the title of Durango's most unexpected repeat offender. Donkey escapes after Texas lake rescue. Leads to the highway. Authorities in Texas said a donkey was rescued from a lake, but managed to escape from animal control officers and make its way to a highway. The Live Oak Police Department said on social media Monday that the donkey was first spotted running loose May the 12th near Narrow Pass and Toperwayan, and officers engaged the animal in a surprisingly fast hoof pursuit. Yeah, you don't think of them being fast, but they are fast. The donkey managed to lose its pursuers in the area of Interstate 35, and O'Connor, due to the animal being impressively stealthy, for an animal wearing no shoes, police wrote. Live Oak Animal Control responded a short time later to a report of a fugitive donkey swimming in the lake at Main City Park. Universal City Animal Control officers helped Live Oak responders fish the donkey out of the water and tie it up with a clamp. And he escaped. Again. Clamp and all, the Post said. Sometimes you gotta wonder, these animals, sometimes they're good at what they do. Wildlife Center workers don bear suits to feed baby bruin. Workers at a California wildlife center donned bear costumes to feed and care for a 2-month-old black bear cub. The San Diego Humane Society said the cub, the youngest bear ever to be a patient at Ramona Wildlife Center, was found wandering solo at the Los Padres National Forest on April 12, and the California Department of Fish and Wildlife was unable to locate its mother to facilitate a reunion. He arrived weak and underweight, but thanks to round-the-clock feedings, expert medical care, and some serious, very good dedication from our Project Wildlife team, he's now stable and thriving, the Humane Society said. The post also includes a video of the bear being cared for by team members in bear costumes. Center said the employees mimic maternal behaviors and keep the bear from bonding with humans, which is probably a good thing, especially if you would like to be able to put him back into nature. The goal is to eventually return the bear to the wild once it's old enough to survive on its own. If another orphan cub enters care elsewhere in California, CDFW may try to pair them to help keep them wild and avoid human imprinting. And that is so important. Not only safety for the bear, but safety for humans in general. If you put an animal that has imprinted with human beings, they're always going to be coming back to human beings for any kind of thing, whether it's food, comfort, whatever. So it's a good thing not to do that. All right. New York, this is the story. New York news anchor completes broadcast while in labor. A morning news anchor for a New York station went into labor in the early morning and still anchored the morning show less than 2 hours later. Olivia Jaquith, a morning anchor for WRGB-TV in Albany, anchored the 6 a.m. news broadcast on Wednesday after her water broke about 4:15 a.m. We do have some breaking news this morning, literally, co-anchor Julia Dunn said at the start of the broadcast. Olivia's water has broke. Jaquith insisted it was still early labor with the contractions far apart and went on to anchor the entire broadcast before going to the hospital. A counter in the corner of the screen explained it was 2 days past Jaquith's due date. The anchor had announced in February that she and her husband Tyne were expecting their first child. News director Stone Grissom praised Jaquith in a statement issued after the broadcast. We couldn't be more thrilled for them, from her on-air pregnancy announcement earlier this year to running a half marathon while expecting. Olivia has met every stage of this journey with grace and grit. Today was no exception, Grissom said. Olivia's passion for storytelling, love for her hometown, and commitment to our viewers has always been evident. We're overjoyed to soon welcome our newest and tiniest member. And that is it for What in Tarnation. Sometimes we have some good stories that just make you go, okay, sure. And that's one of those. And that's why I say women for years have done lots of things while they have been in labor and just continued on. So, all right. Our devotion comes from "With God, I always have hope." And this is one that I purchased in Always quite some time ago. Hope in God's counsel. I may need to put my glasses on. Some days are like that. You guide me with your counsel, and afterward you take me into glory. Psalm 73, verse 24. People often consult counselors when they need guidance, and following their advice often produces good results. God, however, promises to guide you with His counsel. He is a perfect counselor, and following His instruction provides great results. Who is the first person you run to when faced with a relational conflict, financial dilemma, or big decision? You might run to someone whom you consider wise, but even the greatest wisdom falls short of God's. God's counsel is perfect in wisdom. He sees what you cannot see. Because He is omnipresent and omniscient, and because His eyes are not blurred by the lens of sin. He has all the wisdom in the universe to bring to bear on your issues, and He promises to give it freely and generously when you ask. God's counsel does not only guide you with perfect wisdom, it also brings you comfort. Jesus said in John 14:26 that the Holy Spirit, who is your comforter, will teach you and remind you of what Jesus has said. He will not leave you nor forsake you. If you are faced with a seemingly hopeless dilemma, take heart. God has promised to give you perfect wisdom and comfort as you face today's trials. Reflect. In what situation do I need God's counsel right now? Pray. Lord, I thank you that you guide me with your counsel and that you will bring me into glory. I trust you over all worldly counselors because your counsel is sure. Thank you that as my counselor, you bring comfort and wisdom to my circumstances and will lead me into all the truth. Declare, I trust God's counsel. Act. Set aside extended time to listen to the Holy Spirit today. Then share with someone else the counsel you feel you've received. And that's so important in our lives today to take that time to do that. All right, guys, that is it for today's video. Short and sweet. Everybody, have a great week. Happy Memorial Day today. I hope you're enjoying all the barbecues, but I hope also at the same time you don't forget that the sacrifice that those who laid down and died for our freedom. So, yeah. All right, guys. See you guys soon. Do something kind if you can. And, yeah. See you again soon. Bye.